I have brain wounds. Transgender kind of brain wounds. You know those kinds of women? You know, those. The kinds that have maybe a Blackhawk or two in their room. The kind that rot in their room and probably don't get enough sunlight and desperately need to go outside and touch some grass. Yeah, I'm talking about those kinds of women. I'll admit, I'm one of those women. But I don't just rot in my bed all day. Though, sure, it's not of what I do, but I also study people as an academic subject. I'm talking, of course, about sociology. So what do you do when you're transgender, still not on hormone replacement therapy, and there's people who insist that this is what you look like? This is the story about the past 6 months of my life, and how I gruelingly watched lady ballers and somehow made it back alive. Originally, when the trailer dropped, plenty of left-wing reviewers panned it, claiming that it's just another cultural cash grab, much like the Daily Wire did with movies like What is a Woman, or Greatest Lie Ever Sold, in which Candace Owens released through the Daily Wire 2 years after George Floyd's murder, plus a boost from Ye when he gave into the Hitler particles for that period of time. Does anyone else remember that, or has that just been collectively memory hold yet? Anyways, back on topic. I remember some of the reviews that were given at the time. I remember Jose's review on the movie. Some More News did a video alongside Dead Domain. And quite frankly, my favorite, Hank Packer, also weighed in on the dunks. But something itched at my brain in that all these reviews of the film were kind of missing something. Like it wasn't substantive enough for me. Then a very important saving grace happened for me. Two of my favorite podcasts have dropped some episodes. Western Kabuki did a review of the film on December 21st of 2023, and It Could Happen Here by Robert Madison Evans reviewed the film 1 month later. Juniper at Western Kabuki had this to say.
Mentions sensitivity training, and I'm like, that's a really weirdly specific grievance, because at this point in the movie I realized, oh, this is just for grievance, this is just a way to get out their grievances.
Garrison Davis at It Could Happen Here actually made a very important note regarding the narrative structure of the film, saying,
Jesus Christ. So this was mostly an excuse for them to, like, slow-mo video of hitting women, right?
Yes.
That was the primary reason for doing this?
Yeah.
I didn't need to see that whole thing. That was really deeply upsetting.
The reason why I wanted to actually show you is because
I'll never get that minute back, is what I'm saying.
It's not even like offensive or triggering. It's just poorly made. It's just not very good. And before we continue, I want to actually talk about why we're talking about this, because, you know, whenever I say to my friends, hey, do you want to come over and watch Lady Ballers? Everyone's like, why would you do that? And the reason
you said this a lot, Garrison.
I saw this twice. The reason is because I think it is actually important to know what your enemy is up to. It's important to see what they think good media is. It's important to see how they are trying to shape the world around them. And I think fiction gets a lot closer to the actual outlook these people have than sometimes their nonfiction stuff.
And to top everything off,
can you hear me? Good. I want you to have all the background. This is a very ominous assignment, with overtones of extreme personal danger. I'm a doctor of journalism, man. This is important, goddammit. This is a fucking true story.
I became hyperfixated on the work of Dr. Hunter S. Thompson after reading and watching Fear and Loathing in Las Vegas and listening to the audiobook of Fear and Loathing on the campaign trail of 1972. With my pen and notebook in my backpack, I went to campus every day and got to work. In the social sciences, when you need to use a definition of a word, this is called a, quote, operant definition. This is just a fancy way of saying, put in plain language what your concepts are and how you'll use them. In my case, I used a dictionary definition of the word grievance, and its definition is a real or imagined wrong or other cause for complaint or protest, especially unfair treatment. I went a bit deeper to specify that my concept would explicitly include that real or imaginary part of the injustices displayed throughout the film. For every grievance I'd find, I'd put a tally mark and a timestamp, and on occasion I'd write down my thoughts. This use of objective math and personal perspective is broadly one of the many examples of what we called mixed methods research. Alongside this, I decided to mix in some Hunter S. Thompson into this and try to take to heart when he said that, quote, the mind and body must be subjected to extreme stimulus by the means of drugs and music. I watched this movie over 20 times. I analyzed every single scene, frame by frame, second by second, minute by minute, to jot down every single grievance, even kind of categorize it by the end. And then I went to my computer after spending 2 to 3 hours just watching that movie to then find an article that has some kind of relevant research to this topic and painstakingly read the academic jargon and annotate every single article I could find that was relevant to this paper.
Oh no, I forgot examples of grievances in the film. Here are some examples of the silliest.
Good talk, boys. Please don't steal my catalytic converter again on your way out. Go. Can't focus. You're right, Kevin, I'm sorry.
What is that?
Bud Light. I'm sponsored now.
Oh, buddy. They'll give that shit to any dude in the press. It's ladies basketball, boys. Nobody watches.
Put a baby in me.
What?
No, you're right. The last thing I need is another abortion this year.
You're a monster.
Day one of being a girl athlete, I've already eaten a whole pint of pistachio ice cream, given up on parallel parking twice, reread Sense and Sensibility, and started washing down benzodiazepines with rosé.
It doesn't matter anyway. Because girls can't become boys. And boys clearly. No.
Such bigotry.
You know, it's been especially hard for Felix here, who was bullied in high school.
It's Felix, coach. Maybe you can just, not dead name me for 5 seconds.
Okay. You know, as my daughter Winnie has informed me, one can even be trans age now, which provides Felix with a wonderful...
A big day for sports, and a big day for trans rights. Which are women's rights? Which are human rights?
Why do you always get to talk first?
I beg your pardon?
It's just evidence of systemic sexism and racism, Drake.
You're very white.
Look at all these families and children. How do these people live like this?
It's disgusting. All of you helped me learn an important lesson.
I staked my entire almost every self-righteous housewife with Munchausen by proxy to sacrifice their kids on the altar of false virtue. The least we could do is get rich off it.
Crazy.
Yeah, Coach. What is a woman?
Guys, it's easy. Women are just like men, only better. Just show your legs. Tell each other how brave you are for things that require absolutely no physical courage. And don't be afraid to cry at work. Easy peasy.
Hello, everybody. My name is Markiplier.
Note of clarification. Grievances are noted and used as any statement that is used to signal displeasure at the current political reality, which is signaled by tone of words, negative, positive inflection, and consistency of hostility at imagined or real actions. I just woke up after 5 hours, roughly more or less. I'm barely halfway past 57 minutes with 6 seconds left. I'm gonna call my dad and ask him for assistance in doing the statistics. Transphobia is a degenerative brain disease, and I want to start with the realm that creates this bullshit. August 24th, 2024. I am slowly losing my mind. This entire day has felt like one giant fever dream, and microscopic rats are gnawing at my brain so they write. It's all one joke repeat over 100 times. The same movies are played. Joanna May 2002, Dodgeball 2004, LaQuisha 2019. All the same god-awful movies that will give your brain damage with a new coat of paint. I'm supposed to feel sympathy or empathy for the characters, but I feel hollow. My dad doesn't even believe that I'm transgender, just like everyone around me is influencing me to be this way. This movie in my mind is hallucinations of every divorced father out there, because I'm pretty sure without knowing what divorce was, my mom would have gone insane.
September 20th, 2024.
I'm cross-checking the second half of the film while rereading old entries, as clearly I was mentally broken and unable to fully document everything with a clear head. There's going to be a lot more grievances and percentages to calculate. I spoke to a friend about the Lovecraftian horrors, and she also had horrific experiences with those kinds of reactionaries. Note to self, my errors seem to come from checking the second half of the film. Looking at the notes and numbers, minority stress seems to have played a role in this miscalculation. I am stopping here for today. It is 3:14 p.m. as of recording, and I've only recorded a good 7-ish grievances, and I can feel the fucking stress getting to me. I think right now if I have to, I don't even have to, I just want to. It's things that I want to get to my next part, but I have to take time with this. I have to take my sweet, sweet time. A conservative would have me think that news story comes out of thin air, but I sure as hell no, it doesn't. Like a caterpillar to a butterfly. Maturity and change takes time. And I need to take my time as I write this, because I think that minority stress is definitely a factor that is affecting that affected, really, and continues to affect my ability to properly do research on this kind of topic. As I can't even count how many times I've seen this movie. I want to say it's about 20 plus now. And I've come to the conclusion that right now I think this weekend, at least until Monday, I should spend some time trying to find something or find some kind of article that helps me make sense of the feelings that I get out of that dread that embodies my entire mind and soul whenever I watch this. That could only be described as minority stress taken to the most extreme, and try to contextualize and make sense of it. But like a caterpillar transitioning to a butterfly, I am taking my time, and that is all. But other than that, it is a wonderful Friday. I put away my dishes, and the second I finish this recording, I'm gonna go outside and take in the bins that need to be taken back in, because I'm pretty sure that the garbage collectors have already picked it up by now. And yeah. Caterpillar. Just a fucking caterpillar. To a butterfly. And that is all. October 1st, 2024, at 6:35 p.m. I am at home, and the debate between Waltz and Vance is happening live on TV. I will think about that later, though. Now, I got my hands on The Great Shark Hunt by Dr. Hunter S. Thompson. However, like my backpack and mental state, it began to fall apart instantaneously. I am taking apart this book página por página and saving all the pages, articles, and letters to hold on to read and to keep me grounded. As of 24 hours ago, some pirates stole a Trump Vance banner off the porch of a neighbor in the neighborhood, and the person left a message about it not being the last of them. If I know anything about my local conservative media sphere, is that they'll turn this single instance of juvenile silliness into another McCloskey or Dennis Mola. Besides, those flags are mass-produced and easily bought between $5 to $15, as Enrique Tarrio of former Proud Boys infamy has explained. It's all cheap BS device signal, whatever BS is coming. Just whatever is coming, I hope I can weather it and not lose my mind. October 13th to October 24th of 2024. Themes plus the data. I have watched this movie over 20 times now, mapped every single grievance in the film, and worked a bit more on my literature review. However, one important task remains: thematic analysis. If someone were to put me in a straitjacket and force me to list the main themes in this god-awful film, it would be: number 1, Wokeness, the amorphous and ever-changing term used by conservatives to portray a range of beliefs, like, quote, the left has removed the green M&M's high heels to make them unsexy, all the way to, quote, biological men are disguising themselves as women to steal high school and state championships from real women who tied for 4th place. A portrayal of modern society, silencing the alleged silent majority's right to hallucinate a takeover of women's sports by an evil, shadowy transgender cabal. Theme 2. Sexism is good, actually. Women need men to be both the protectors from harm created by patriarchies, while also feeding them all the reasons as to why women need to be seen and not heard, even in the so-called meritocracy called sports. Theme 3. Journalism and journalists are evil. Stories can be made out of thin air, and the hallucinations of the mind of every conservative scare them, and they should be responded to on the terms of each conservative that you are interacting with. Theme 4. Back to the past. Society should be taken back to a reimagined and lofty and untrue version of reality. Any grievances that you may come across, whether they be real or AI generated through various algorithms, ought to be representations and be taken into consideration as reasons why society was better in certain amount of years you want to go back to. In total, Lady Ballers dedicates 67.5 minutes to grievances out of its 110-minute runtime. Alongside this, the percentage of the film being dedicated to grievance, this number comes to a whopping 68.1% when taking into consideration my original percentage count and the rechecking of grievances. One thing I wanted to mention that I didn't get to write about in my original paper was why this movie was a failure. A big thing that I think a lot of people look over is that not only is this movie a failure because of a lot of production errors, the fact that it was so quickly and shoddily produced in like the span of a good month or so, but also a major reason why this failed is because successful collective action during the filming process was able to stall and really make this movie take a hit. And truthfully, these were kind of some of the goals that were gained through collective action. Number one was fewer extras being present on scene. You can especially see this throughout a lot of the basketball scenes where, there's not really that many people in the stands at all. They're barely filling any rows. And number two was that Belmont University actually canceled the Daily Wire's request to film on campus because the Daily Wire actually hid details about its direct involvement in this film, which was needed to proceed with the movie. And additional protests were held outside Nashville's Municipal Auditorium from June 28th to June 30th of 2023. This was corroborated through various reports, including the Nashville Scene, WFLN News, and The Advocate. Alongside this, similar action actually took place during films made by the Daily Wire, such as What is a Woman and last year's Matt Walsh documentary, Am I Racist? As of writing, I have begun to medically transition. feel that it is important to make this known because, medically speaking, hormone replacement therapy, HRT, changes the body physically, but it also caused me to reflect on the film. Lady Ballers, as a piece of cinema, doesn't take into consideration that to participate in sports as a student athlete, one must, if MTF or male to female, have gone under some kind of testosterone suppression medication for 1 year or more. During this time, the athlete would have first begun at a male team before changing to a mixed sports team, then to a female team. Ben Shapiro, a political pundit on the Daily Wire, says the following on why the film couldn't be made as a documentary, saying the following.
So that's the thing you did.
Yeah. We like to make friends.
Okay, so let's go back to the inception of this idea. So you approached me and you said we should make a fictional film about this topic. Now, to be fair, I think I'd actually suggested to the Crane Boys that they do this as a doc.
Yes.
I originally went to them and I said, you guys should go try out for a bunch of ladies' leagues. And that became not possible because, as it turns out, most ladies' leagues don't allow in actual men. And they weren't willing to go the full distance in terms of what it would require in order to, the actual hormone treatments and everything to play in some of the ladies' leagues. But in any case, it turned into this. So explain.
Yeah. Well, I think the thing that you have to understand is that I was getting ready to leave the country to go make our Pendragon series on July 9th. And somewhere about mid-March, I thought, wouldn't it be great if between today and July 9th, we wrote and produced an entire feature film. So, yeah, the Crane Boys mentioned the idea that you had given them, and it's been in the back of my mind that, we really should be making the movies that only we can make. In fact, I think it's a line that you had come up with. But what are the things that only we can do? And so I thought, well, obviously, there has not been a true comedy made since Barack Obama became president. I mean, Barack Obama destroyed 3 things: rock and roll, comedy, and America. Other than that, he was a perfectly average president.
This is the crux of the whole film. The creation of a false reality of what conservatives believe the existence of transgender people is. The idea that transness is a social contagion and that it should be eliminated from society. At the same time, for me, this is reflecting on how I felt before I became what I sought to be. And this paper, for me, at the very least, is in a way the culmination of dissecting and work needed to destroy the brain worm of transphobia, to show that I am, for once, secure and satisfied within myself.